I want to welcome everybody. My name is Michael Draeger. I have been with Trend for roughly about 10 and a half years. I am a red team engineer, and I have been doing the ISKF program for almost that long as well. The ISKF program is, Trend Micro is one of the largest cybersecurity tech companies out there. And our ISKF program, education program, was founded about 14 years ago. And we have been running sessions all over the world and reached well over probably 3.2 million kids and parents on these evening or night discussions, either in person or online. I want to go ahead and get to know you better a little bit here. We've also, I've seen in the chat, you guys have posted a number of different where you guys are from. And as you can see from this list here, we have a number of different schools from all over the place. We got all over the country. I think we're covering almost all time zones here. So I appreciate those of you who are staying up a little later, and those of you getting out early through your dinner hour to join us and listen to me talk about this subject here. All right, next. All right, so before we begin, let's just do some quick housekeeping stuff here. Again, if you want to listen to this in Spanish or Arabic, there is a globe icon. You go ahead and select that globe icon and select the language, and you can listen to it in that language. Please use the sign-in link in chat and go ahead and sign in. This just helps us know where you're from and what school you're with. This session is going to run roughly 80 to 90 minutes, and that's going to include some time for questions. We are recording the sessions. However, these sessions are going to be, if you want them, going to be on demand only. Just have your PTO representative reach out to us, and we'll send you that recording. Please submit your questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom meeting. Sometimes you'll post it in chat, and because of how many things get posted in chat, things may get lost while we're going along here. So if you post it in the question and answer thing, we have people monitoring that and can attempt to answer it, and then we'll also try to get some of these answered towards the end of the session as well. And then anything that we don't answer, we'll definitely take offline and try to get those answered and over to you afterwards. And then when we're done, we ask you to please fill out a survey that'll be posted at the end of the session tonight. That survey just kind of helps us know how this program's going, what your thoughts are, and some of the things that we may need to change or add or remove. So to get things started here, we're going to go ahead and do a quick poll. In a few minutes, you should see a poll pop up on your screen, and it's going to ask you, how old is your oldest child? Is it A, 5 years older or younger? Old or younger, 6 to 10, 11, 14, 15 or older. I currently have a 17-year-old in the house, in my house, as well as a 10-year-old in my house. So I got a kind of mix here. So let's see what we got here. All right. As you can see, a vast majority of this is actually very interesting. That's actually about average on when I've done these in the past. Is most of the kids are within that 6 to 14 age range. That's excellent. Pardon me. All right, one more survey real quick. What are you most interested in discussing tonight? What are you hoping to get out of this? Are you looking to manage your time, manage screen time for your kids? Maybe helping them stick to an age-appropriate content, dealing with online bullying or hate, getting the idea for positive use of the internet, or just not sure, just here to learn something. So this just kind of gives us a gauge of what people are looking for during these sessions as well. Thank you. Interesting. So, looks like a lot of people are looking to get age-appropriate content stuff. So hopefully some of the things that we're going to be sharing with you tonight will help you get through that, get that information, get you that information and help you manage that better. All right, so tonight we are not just going to talk about you keeping your kids safe online. We're going to talk about how to help them to be great digital citizens. We also aren't here to scare you. We really don't think that's helpful. Our goal is not to scare you about the internet, because the internet offers a lot of benefits as well. But we want to share as much as we can about the truth and facts and what we know so you can make the right decisions for you and your family. We're going to be sharing things that we've learned from others that we partner with, as well as parents that we've engaged with over the last 14 years, and just our personal experiences as well. Oops, I probably should have clicked that first. There we go. So what is digital citizenship? One, it's about safety and security, it's helping our kids know what risks are and how do they avoid them. And this includes digital literacy. How do we use the features and settings of technology so we can avoid the risks that are out there and the threats? It's about the ethics and community. What are the rules and norms or behaviors of online space? How should I behave? And so that's positive for me and others as well. And this includes the mastery of it. It's more important than just knowing what not to do online, but it's also knowing and showing what we can do online and the benefits to us, myself and worlds and others and everybody around us. So it's helping them use this tool as something to better themselves and the community around themselves as well. Now we're going to cover multiple different topics, and we're going to be cramming a lot of information into a little bit of time. So I'm hoping we're going to try to get as much as we can out of this. We've organized this into 4 different distinct buckets. First thing is going to be talking about being online. This is where we're going to talk about the environment, the rules, and some basic examples. Next, we're going to talk about being safe. This is where we're talking about your privacy, your information, as well as yourself. Then we're going to pop over to being kind to others and yourself as well. And then lastly, it's savvy. What are some good habits? What are some good uses of the internet? And how can they help us in these different areas? We're going to spend a lot of time in the blue and green areas as we go through it, because this is we feel that this is probably where you need a lot of where a lot of the information needs to be distributed out there. And then we're going to attempt to answer questions as they come up. And as I said, as any questions that come up, please post them in the Q&A section, and someone will attempt to answer them, or we'll try to answer them at the end. So let's start off with setting up the environment. So the very first thing when we're talking about setting up in our environment is our physical health. We're no good to anybody if we're sick. We're no good to anybody if we're not feeling well. So our physical health is very important. And the very first thing we're going to talk about is our eyes. And the biggest thing with eyes is lighting. Do I have the appropriate lighting? Am I using the appropriate lighting in the room? Maybe if I'm like myself, who spends a lot of time on screens, I need to take some time and do the 30-30 rule, which is where I will look off for 30 seconds at roughly about 30 feet and every 30 minutes. So I just take my eyes off the screen and look off to the distance for about 30 seconds, give my eyes a rest from the screens, and also maybe even potentially investing into blue light goggles. Blue light, they've proven that blue light does strain on your eyes. So that's a very good investment here and there. Next is seating. Every so often, and I'm guilty of this, of sitting I'll be sitting in my seat, and next thing you know, I'm slouched and poor posture, and the next thing you know, I have to get up and my back hurts and I hurt. And so if I'm sitting properly, I'm going to lessen that chance as well. Then also taking breaks, getting up and moving. That's very important. Get your eyes off the screen, get your blood flowing again, just get away from the screen for a minute, clear your head. It makes a big difference. All right, so the next piece here is we're going to talk about the actual network itself. Now, the very first thing that we have at your home is your router, and your routers come with a default password. These are well-known default passwords, and if you don't change them, you're basically exposing your internal network to anybody out there who can type a password to gain access to it. So make sure that you change that password when you install that new router, or if you have someone install that, make sure they do change that default password, and then keep it away, somewhere so no one can see it. And then also apply any updates to that router if there are any that's been released. A lot of new routers will allow you to separate network, especially for Wi-Fi. So you could set up your main network and your guest network on your Wi-Fi's, and this will allow you to like segment work from your kids gaming, or even if you have visitors to your house, you can say, hey, use this one instead of having to share your actual network Wi-Fi password. For those of you who have very large homes or homes with brick walls or whatever that Wi-Fi doesn't really travel through, they sell Wi-Fi extenders. This allows you to extend your Wi-Fi through the house so you don't have dead spots throughout your house if that is needed. And then also use staggered time. Staggered time is basically, hey, I'm working, so no one gets to, I don't want you guys streaming, or I don't want you playing some game while I'm working because it's going to suck up all the bandwidth. Or homework time, this is when you need to do it, and this is when you guys video, just to allow, so you guys aren't fighting over the space and hogging up bandwidth, but we're also kind of sharing things. Oops, I went the wrong way. Oh, there we go. Let's pull this out. All right. So the next piece is we're going to talk about setting up the environment for the security. Now, the very first thing when we're talking about is most of your devices out there have built-in security tools. They have firewalls, they have some method to help protect them. So use that software on the device. Your routers have built-in security. Your Windows boxes, your Macs all have built-in security. Enable it, turn it on. Same thing, turn on your firewalls if they exist on the device. This will help protect the device and limit the control. Use strong passwords and change them often. The best thing, as far as, the longer the password, the better it is. So use a strong password and try not to use that same password everywhere. Also, when possible, use multi-factor. Multi-factor or two-factor is a lot of your bank accounts now have this. Facebook has its, Snapchat. All these other apps out there offer two-factor authentication. And that basically says, besides your password, please enter this, either a PIN or some other method to validate that you are you. And that way, if your credentials get stolen by any way, they can't just hack into your Facebook account and take control of it. They have to have that second authentication method. So use multi-factor when available. And then lastly is VPN. Now, VPN is virtual private network. This is not as important when you're at your home, but mainly when you're like saying sitting at Starbucks and using that Wi-Fi. VPN encrypts that traffic and prevents anybody sitting at Starbucks from snooping in and stealing that packets or that data from the Wi-Fi. VPN encrypts it and makes it very hard because it's a dedicated tunnel out to the internet and out, so the people in the area cannot snoop in or do a man-in-the-middle attack and actually capture that traffic. Now, the next piece, and this is actually something that is I'll admit, is the bread and butter to what I do, being in the red teaming, is update, update, update. And the reason why I say update, update, update is because a lot of times when we're doing a red team engagement where we're pretending to be a hacker and attacking a network, a unpatched system is the way we get in, or a bad password is the way we get in. Usually an unpatched or bad set. So update, update. When someone says there's a new release, get it applied. That is very important. That helps protect your system. It also pushes out maybe new features and enhancements as well. So update is very important. Passwords. I know I'm beating a dead horse when I talk about passwords. Everybody talks about it, but I know passwords. Everybody says passwords are really tough to remember, especially if you got a whole bunch of them. Yes. The easiest way is to come up with a phrase or a simple phrase that you can remember. So this is an example they use. They might need to buy more toilet paper soon, and where they just took the first letters of each word and made it into a single password. This password is one long, complex, and not common, so it'd be very hard for a hacker to crack. If they do obtain the stuff, they wouldn't be able to crack it and break into it. And it would take them a very long time if they even had the resources to go ahead and attempt to break that password. So try to come up with a phrase that's easy to remember. That's the best way to handle passwords. And then back up and store your data. So if you have a cloud storage for Apple or Samsung, back up to it, make sure that that data is protected with a password and stored safely. If you have a home computer and there are some things that you really don't want to lose, get an external drive, back it up to that drive, and put that drive, like say, into a safe deposit box or a fire safe, just to keep it safe. In case something were to happen to your computer, you can restore and recover any data that may potentially been lost. All right. Now, we're going to talk about tech tools. Now, one thing about the tech tools out there is, one, most of the tools out there have some kind of tool built into it, much like our routers and stuff. They have these tools that help us, helps with the age-appropriate context, prevents in-app purchases, monitors our time online. So a lot of the phones, our phones, tablets and stuff have time limits where you can actually set, and they have tools that help you monitor, and so you know what's going on and what they're doing. On the routers, this stuff is available on routers. A lot of routers have built-in device control where you can say, okay, I only want these devices online at this specific time, or they have built-in firewalls or web filters to help filter out content. Your ISP has a lot of ISPs out there. Your internet service provider offers a lot of these services as well. And then also security software. So much like Trend Micro's security software that we offer, there is built-in tools in there as well. And then the apps, your app stores and stuff have these built-in tools as well if you activate them and use the settings. Most of these tools you'll look under, you'll see them under family settings, parental controls, or privacy settings. And even digital wellness is another term that's been recently used. So those are the terms you'd be looking for under settings when you're looking for these types of things. So we're going to talk about tech tools. The very first thing, and this is, we're going to kind of go through these at a high level. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. So we're going to go through these, just kind of saying, this is some of the features that can help you as a parent to limit screen time, manage content, and how they expose it, what they can be exposed to. Some of these settings also can help you have a good conversation with your kids. Just remember one thing when we're talking about a lot of these tech tools is they're not a replacement for being a parent. These are tools that help us. We should not rely on them as a fix-all, saying, okay, I enable the settings. I don't need to know what they're doing. I don't need to monitor them as far as using these different tech tools out there. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is iOS screen time. Again, this is on your Apple devices. This is going to allow you to manage their what they can see, how long they can see, what apps they can download, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we want to go to settings, go to screen time, and then under your family, you can see members of who are in your iTunes account, and those are the people who have been basically shared, and even kids under the age of 13 can be added to this, so you can add them. And then you want to click on them, and then you can manage their screen time. You can restrict the device, et cetera, et cetera. This is a good way of doing using a built-in tool that Apple offers to kind of lock down or secure that iPhone. Google is the same thing. It helps them filter apps, limit screen time, protect screen time, track the child's location, alerts when they're moved. So this is if you have a Android device. This is similar to the Apple tool, but this is for Android. So there are tools built into the devices and you can download from the app stores to help protect your devices. Now, YouTube has a really nice little new settings, and some of you may be familiar with YouTube for Kids. That was really popular for a while. Well, they've also launched a feature called Supervised Account, where you can filter stuff that your kids are seeing on YouTube based on level of appropriateness. Now, right now, it's set up to be broken into 3 flavors. It's kind of Explorer, which is going to be your younger kids. These are going to be your 10 and under probably kids, very limited on what they can see, definitely kids appropriate. The Explore More is going to be more for your tweens. They're going to still have pretty tight controls on some of the stuff, but they're going to have access to more things that the little kids will not have access to. And then most of YouTube is going to be your teenagers. So that's still blocking the adult content and the inappropriate content, but it's going to give them the access to things that they may need doing research, especially being in high school and stuff. The next one we're going to talk about is the TikTok family pairing. TikTok added this a couple of years ago. This is an awesome tool as far as, especially kids who are really into TikTok. It kind of gives you a ability to basically maintain and manage their TikTok account. Now, you do have to have your phone. This app needs to be installed on your phone and your child's phone. And to basically enable it, you would basically click on the Safety Center and select Digital Wellbeing. Oops, I got it myself. And then select the family pairing. And then you'd basically assign which phone is it. This is the parent phone, or is this the teen phone? This allows you to set limits on time, what their content is, or even their contacts. And it kind of gives you some control over their use of TikTok. Instagram recently introduced a feature called supervision. This allows you to ease your child into an app. So if you got someone who they're trying to, they want to use Instagram, their friends are on Instagram. Well, gives you a way, and you really don't want them doing this. Well, this kind of gives you a way to like kind of loosen the leash a little bit and let them start playing with it and using it. You can limit their time on it. You can see who they're following. Who their followers are, but you can't change it. But at least you can see who's following them, so you can advise it. Yeah, that may not be a good choice. Again, these are tools for the kids to have a conversation with them. So, hey, like something comes up and say, hey, maybe that person may not be the best person to follow, or that person following, we probably maybe should not have them follow you anymore, whatever. So it allows you to have that conversation with them. So it gives you at least some visibility on what they're doing within TikTok. There's also a quiet mode, which basically you can enable. And this is very important. So kids who are addicted to their devices and want to stay up all night doing it, you can actually do quiet mode, which allows you to turn it off from, say, 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. in this case, 7 a.m. in this case, and allow them to sleep and not be interrupted by constant posts and dings from the app. All right. Snapchat also has released new features, allowing to monitor more than you could before. In the past, it was kind of limited. But again, these are just tools to help you. They aren't a replacement, but this really will open the door to have that conversation about how their choices and their actions can, affect them online. So this is a great way to have these conversations by having these tools in place, letting them know that you are aware of what they're doing and trying to be there for them to help them make good choices online. Now, this is a common thing. A lot of kids like Roblox because it allows them kind of to build up create their own games and stuff like that and play games. But as you can see in this little video here that's playing, that I can easily set up an account where I can start actually restricting who they can see. It's under safety privacy. And then I can manage who their friends are. If I want them to share their accounts, or hey, I don't want them talking to anybody online, I can limit them and kind of restrict who can chat with them, who can't chat with them, et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of gives you a little bit of control of what they're doing online and controlling what they do and who they're talking to. Now, Discord, this is gaining more and more popular with younger kids. This is really big in the gaming community. So if you have kids who are really big into gaming, most likely they know about Discord because this is where a lot of the chats occur. Think of Discord as kind of Zoom or Teams or whatever in the gaming realm. This is also a very common channel for hackers who use as well. They like it because it's an easy platform to communicate with each other. But really, a lot of gamers love this because it's such a great way to collaborate while they're gaming online as well. There are many ways. The nice thing about this, there are tools built into Discord to allow you to keep your kids safe, and you just have to enable some of the settings. Like for instance, in this screen, I can say who can be added to my gaming server, my Discord server, whatever. If I want to make it friends of friends, everyone, or just, pardon me, just server members, I can control at least who's joining those chats. So no one, say if I want to make sure that while my kid's gaming online or doing something online with Discord, that he's just chatting with his friends and no one else outside of that circle. I also have the ability to block in here. So if there is someone that just starts just bashing or doing whatever or inappropriate behavior, we can go ahead and block that person also and prohibit them from accessing the chats also with your kids. Xbox came out with this. This is actually a great app. So if you have an Xbox in the house, and it basically allows you to kind of control what the apps and time that they're using and who they're chatting with while they're playing their games on the Xbox. This is an excellent tool that you can manage from your smartphone. So you download it and link it to the Xbox, and you suddenly can start saying, "Oh no, your screen time's done," and you can cut them off and kind of say, "Okay, you're done. You played your hour, your 30 minutes, or whatever you've given them during that time to allow them to play." You just cut them off, or say, "Okay, yeah, we probably want to quit sending friend requests, or I don't want you downloading additional things to it." So, kind of gives you some control over that gaming system. Now, this is a tool that Trend Micro has put together. This is called Trend Micro Family Cares. Again, this is an excellent tool. I actually use this myself with my 10-year-old. This is a free tool that can run on Android or iOS, and you like the TikTok one where you have a parent and a child. This is the same settings, is where I have an app on my smartphone, and I have the app installed on the kid's tablet that he's using, and I can control what apps he has and what websites he can go to. Gives me an idea where he's going, what he's seeing, gives me that visibility that I may or may not have if he's kind of off in the other room. I may not know what he's downloading or watching, and I just want to kind of limit it, or I'm trying to limit his screen time, whatever. So this is a great tool. It's free. tmfamily.cares. This tool is constantly changing, and it's gotten better since it's been released. So definitely something to look into if you're looking for a good tool to manage multiple devices. All right, so let's talk about setting the rules. And this is kind of interesting thing. And when I talk about this, is a lot of like what every household's going to be different. Every kid's going to be different. And really how you address it is going to be based on, the level of maturity of the kid, the age of the kid, and what you feel they're ready for. So basically, the first thing is what am I going to let them use? What am I going to let them download? What apps do I want them to, what games do I want to allow them to use? Some things they may need for homework, et cetera, et cetera. Let me, you're going to have to do a little digging and find out about stuff. So the very first thing is what am I going to let them do? The next piece is when do I let my kids use this technology? We don't want them definitely using these things day in and day out, just glued to your screens 24/7. That's a big challenge for a lot of parents with kids and technology nowadays. It's like, okay, you have to have some clear ground. Like, hey, no, you can't have a screen time until your homework's done, or you've done this, or you've done this, or you've been on the screen for like over an hour. It's time to shut it off and go outside or whatever. So that's the kind of when. And then how long? What's your time limit? The older they get, the more time they're going to need to be online just because of the things that they do for homework. But as for fun, it's like you need to set clear guidelines. Currently, my 10-year-old, I have a 30-minute window when he can get on his tablet and actually spend time and play. So I kind of limit it right now, and that's a choice that we've made as parents. And then where should they be using the technology? Do you have a specific spot in the house? Do you have a specific area in the house that you want them to use their technology, or do you not care? In my household, we have a specific saying, hey, in the common area. So if you're going to use the computer, you're going to be downstairs by the computer. You're going to use tablet or laptop, you need to be in a common area downstairs or whatever. No technology in the rooms. We try to limit that as much as possible on where they can use those devices. So if they do run into problems, we are here to help them get through whatever that issue may be. And then with whom? Who are they going to talk to? Do you want your younger kids talking to strangers online? Probably not. So you want to limit who they're talking to. You want to know who they're talking to, especially at a younger age, just so that you know that they're being safe and they're doing the right thing online. So that's really this, like, who do I want them talking to? So based on advice from the Digital Wellness Lab, um, we look at a screen and of the things that many kids do that kind of fill up their day. We want to encourage the kids to kind of think about what they do throughout the day to stay healthy, learn, care about their families and stuff. And then think about how much time do they spend online? Well, how much time do they spend doing all those things, to take care of themselves, their friends, their family, and all their needs in a 24-hour period? How much time? That you can have them write them down with you, or they can do that on their own, whatever. And then after that time is what's left over? What's left after you've done all the things that you need to do to stay healthy, learn, care for your family, friends, and all that stuff? What's left? That's kind of your free time, or your free screen time, if you want to call it that. So the very first thing is, it's like, so we want to say, so what do we need to do? How much time do I spend doing, sleeping, meals, exercise, outdoor time, which is very important, especially for younger kids? How much time do I spend on schoolwork, homework, reading, and hobbies? And hobbies could be a number of things like building Legos or models or whatever. And then how much time do I spend with my family itself, my friends, or even neighbors, going outside and just talking to a neighbor? It's like, so, and this is actually a good skill for all of us to fill out too, as adults. And then after we take all that, what's my time left over? Now that time left over is kind of that. This is your kind of your free time. This is when you could do screen time. Now we don't, say if you got 4 hours left, that doesn't mean say all 4 hours should be screen time. We need to definitely stick with the limits that we put in place, like an hour or hour and a half of screen time, and then have them do other activities for that free time. So this is just kind of one way to look at managing screen time and how they should handle that stuff, and how they should prioritize, making sure that they are staying, on top of their schoolwork, homework, sleeping enough hours, eating them appropriately, and making sure getting enough exercise. There we go. All right. And then next is setting the example. And when I say setting an example, is our kids mirror our actions. And what we do, and if you sit and watch, you'll see that a lot of what your kids do, they are mirroring exactly what you do. So if you're sitting at the kitchen table with your phone scrolling through dinner, naturally they're going to want to do the exact same thing because you're doing it. If you're spending hours and hours playing online with a game, they're going to want to do that. So we want to try to set the rules. And I've been guilty of never, bringing a phone to dinner, which I know I shouldn't be doing because it breaks one of our rules, but I've done it a few times and it's not a good example. So I try to be that a good example and not put my phone, make sure I leave my phone at my desk or someplace not near the dinner table. So when we're eating, we can have that conversations and we're not buried. Our faces aren't buried in the phones and we're not talking to each other. So let's just try to set the example, and think about what kind of example do you set for your kids. I look and I say, oh yeah, I probably should rethink that thing as he's watching me do something that I know that he probably shouldn't do, or I say something I shouldn't be said, or whatever. We need to think about that as we're going through this, as trying to be the example, the role models that the kids should see. It's, practice what we preach, as they say. All right, so the next piece that we're going to talk about is being safe. Now we're going to talk about privacy. We're going to talk about just general information, and then also us being safe, our kids, ourselves. Now, the first thing about privacy is use the privacy settings. A lot of things out there, a lot of your tools, a lot of your games, even the apps, our Facebooks, Instagram, Snapchats, WhatsApp, whatever, all those different apps that are out there have privacy settings in which we can control who can talk to us, who has access to us, who we can share that information to. One key thing that you may want, this is also a great way to, as you're going through these settings, you sit and talk to your kids about how these settings affect and who they can talk to, and the reason why you're setting them. So this is a great conversation starter if you're, going through this thing. Okay, I'm turning this on because of this, and this is why I want it on. Now, one little caveat here where it says allow friends of friends, just be aware of that if you do the allow friends of friends, that's the like sprint in the 9th degree. The kid may not know this person, but he'll be able to chat with him if he's a friend of one of your friends, if that makes sense. So it's just be aware of that one. So this I usually don't check that, especially if I want to keep certain things private, or if I only want to keep things within a small circle of friends. So just to be aware of that whole friends of friends settings a lot of times. Now, we're going to scroll through this real quick. Now, all of us, and I'm pretty sure, and even I've been guilty of this, what we just saw through is a standard EULA or user license agreement for an app. In this case, this is Instagram. All of us usually install something and then click accept. Did we read it? Oh, no. Do we know exactly what it said? Probably not. Some of us may have sat and read through the lines and lines of legal jargon, but most of us just blindly click accept, and away we go. Now, one thing that we need to remember, especially when we're online and when we're talking to our kids, is assume nothing is private. And the reason why we're using this example is this particular user agreement, if you actually read it and go through it, there's a setting in there that basically says Instagram has a right to use your data any which way that they choose, even after you've disabled the account. If the information is up there, they have a right to use it for marketing, and that's what they make their money on marketing. Facebook makes their money on marketing. They're marketing our data. So the best assumption when we're talking about using things online is assume that nothing is private. So if you don't want it out there, don't post it. So another group of people who love accessing this information are people that we've maybe never met. And these are your, cyber criminals or hackers, if people like to call them, or whatever. And they use different tricks to gather our personal information all the time. You'll see these spam emails. You'll see these free offers out there saying, hey, free iPad. Or some kind of link to get you to click on it to share your personal information, because that information is gold to them. And these people aren't necessarily targeting our kids, but because kids use these sites, they become victims of it as well, because they're just kind of victims of opportunity, if you want to call it that. They're looking for whatever information that they can kind of grab. So, pardon me. A lot of kids might fall into the trap of the fake search results. They'll do a search, and then they're going to, bring up some, it may be some bogus information that they manage that shows up and they click on, or offers that are definitely too good to be true, like this example of a free iPad. As I say, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not. And then content that is just way too interesting. And this is mainly like clickbait and stuff. And these are things trying to get you to click on it because it looks interesting. In this case, they're saying Lady Gaga found dead. Well, that's going to draw a lot of attention because like, wait, she's dead. And people are going to click on it. And also if there's some neat game out there, in this case, this is Fortnite. You know, I'm sure nowadays there's some, I don't know what the latest, greatest game out there is right now, but if there's a high interest and high demand, they're going to create these fake ads to get people to click on them, to pull them into that site, to maybe potentially share their personal information. So one thing we can tell our kids as well as ourselves is to use, when we're online, make sure that we're using secure sites, HTTPS, whoops. Make sure we're using secure sites. So that's when you see the HTTPS, the little lock icon, that's going to be a good indication that's a secure site. At least we know that that information is encrypted. If it's just HTTP, it's clear text and anybody can see it. Stick to sites that we trust and know. So if you're not sure, just don't click on it. You know, Google's probably safe. You know, Amazon.com is probably safe. Most of these, reputable sites, YouTube, you can click on those and it's a good indication you're not going to run into too much trouble. But if you don't really know it, just don't click on it. If the offer is too good to be true, don't click on it, and if something looks kind of like way out there, maybe do a quick search and see if there's other links to it. For instance, like the whole breaking news that Lady Gaga found dead. You're probably going to find that in abc.com or nbc.com or even fox.com. You may see that in there if it actually happened, instead of some random site here. In this case, it's bbc.co.uk. So that's probably a fake site just by the URL itself. Be aware of pop-ups. A lot of sites love to do pop-ups. Someone will inject some script that'll pop up a little ad saying, hey, click here, you won this. Just be aware of those. Don't click on them. Keep your security software updated. So if you got antivirus, make sure it's updated, make sure Windows is patched, make sure you use different password for different sites, and try not to use the same password for your email and your banking account and all that stuff. So just trying to use different passwords. A password manager like KeePass or other password managers out there will help you greatly keeping managing passwords. For that question, it says, can you repeat the HTTP? It's HTTPS. The S is at the end, so S is in Sam. All right, so just a little plug here. Tomorrow is National Slam the Scam Day. This is actually something from the government and their goal trying to raise awareness of imposter scams that are out there. There are so many of them out there, especially around Social Security information and all this other stuff. And people are, some new threat comes out, they're going to pop up and try to, get money from you or your personal information. So, report it, delete it, don't respond to it. Anything that requires you to enter your personal information, hey, pay with a gift card, debit card, or anything other than some other strange, typical online currency type thing, like PayPal or something, don't do. If they're asking you to provide documentation or whatever, just stay away from it. So this is kind of just a thing that's for tomorrow. If you go to the ssa.gov/scam, you can report anything that you see. So this is just a thing that's going to kick off tomorrow, National Slam the Scam Day tomorrow. All right, survey time. How many of your kids have their own cell phones? It's yes, no, or thinking about it. Well, that's interesting. A lot of no's. All right, so as you can see, a number of you guys, your kids do have cell phones. And again, we're talking cell phones age. Me, our 17-year-old does have a cell phone, but our 10-year-old does not, because I don't feel that he needs one, and nor is he ready to actually have a cell phone at this time. So this is not something that we're going to, it's again, whether a kid gets a cell phone is going to be dependent upon their maturity level and where you think they are, if they really truly need one at that time. So it's just an interesting survey. Thank you very much. All right. So when we're talking about cell phones, the very first things, and this has come up multiple times, is using the camera in a positive way, in a positive form. Use it to its advantage, what it's used for. We want to let them know that they should never feel pressured to send a picture of themselves that they wouldn't want the whole world to see. And especially when they get that device, we want to have that discussion saying never let anybody pressure you in sending in a picture that would be inappropriate, that you don't want out. Make sure that anything that you send as far as pictures is, appropriate and not going to cause any issues. And then remind them that, they can come to us if anything were to ever happen, and if they do come to us with anything that ever happens, we need to have that empathy and to basically be there for them and support them and help them through it, because this could be a very upsetting time and very stressful time. I've run into this in the past with one of my kids. That she received a picture that was disturbing, and it raised a lot of questions and fears. So we definitely want to make sure that we're there to support them and help them and walk them through the process. Now, we've gotten this question in the past, and it's like a lot of parents have asked us this, is like, what should I do if someone ever sends those pictures to my child who didn't ask for it? I pay the bill and they're worried about it. And as well as you should be, in a way, because we want to remind your child that if they received a picture like that, the first thing they should do is let you know and then delete it. Let us know and delete it. Don't forward it. Don't take it anywhere else. Let the adult know and then delete it. These are both very, very important actions that we need to take. Now, the next piece, this is our responsibility as parents, as adults, is we need to take the next step. Okay, we should let the parent know, let someone know. It could be the parent or the child who sent it, if we're comfortable. If we're not comfortable, or we don't know who the kid is, then probably not. But if you're comfortable talking to that parent, you could talk to the parent. Go to the school if it's a classmate, and have the school help you, or go to law enforcement. Now, the reporting is actually very, very important, because if there is ever an investigation, and someone does report it to the authorities, they will know where that image went, what phones that image went to. And if it went to your phone, your kid's phone, and you didn't report it, you're going to be getting a call from them, and they're going to be asking questions. So the best method is to, you see it, delete it, and then report it. And just make sure that it does get reported to the appropriate people so it can be addressed. We want kids to use the phone in as fun ways as possible, but we also want to make sure that they don't hurt themselves, others, or anything that might be harmful. So that's kind of the big thing when we're talking about pictures and phones. Next, we're going to talk about gaming. Gaming is a great way to practice some skills. Gaming has a lot of benefits, because one, it helps with reflexes. It helps them build relationships while they're talking to their friends online. It's also a great way to decompress. I'll be honest, there have been times when, just sitting mindlessly playing on a game just kind of is relaxing. It can be stressful too, especially if you're getting beat, but it also can be relaxing. So gaming does have its benefits. It is a great way to, help some things, but gaming also can get away into, healthy things like sleep, or actually important friendships. So, I had a foster placement in our house one time, and he was, I'll say, addicted to gaming, and he would spend many, many hours just sitting in front of the gaming console until I cut it off. Doing that instead of, and if I let him, he'd probably be up all night gaming, and he didn't go out with his friends. He just assumed play games. So this is was not very good for him and detrimental to his health. So those things that can cause some issues. And that's where we implement those rules and the tools that we talked about earlier, as far as limiting screen time and kind of managing that so they don't spend all their time. And anyone have kids who struggle to stop playing games after you told them 5 or 4 minutes? You can have a chat with them, or maybe considering games that have end times, like playing Rocket League was one suggestion, NBA, the sports games that are actually timed out, and when the time runs out, the game ends. You can say, okay, once the clocks run out, you're done. Things like that, just to help manage that time. All right. The next piece, being kind. Um, so we're gonna start with kindness, and kindness is something kids learn early on because of us as parents. We teach them; they learn it in school. But online, this is a place where our actions kind of are recorded. Everything we do, say, post, share, like, watch, etc., is kind of seen and recorded. So all these choices that we make kind of make up who we are, let's say who we are, kind of making up who we are online, or what we picture, what people think of who we are online. And then we have to say to ourselves, or say to our kids, like, okay, if someone were to look at me online and all my actions, is it a good picture of who I truly am? Who, is my online presence and my actions reflect who I am in person, where you meet when if they were to meet me in person. And I'd like to say the answer should be yes. That's kind of something that I would love to make sure that, it's like if I'm online and I meet that person online, they have that same impression of who, like, okay, you're pretty much just like you were online. You're nice, whatever, courtesy, polite, whatever. Uh, so that's kind of what we want our kids to think of too. Is like, okay, is what am I doing online? Does it really reflect who I truly am? Whoops. I got ahead of myself here. Now, kindness isn't just about saying nice things to someone else. It's also about respecting differences. So respecting other people's. Some kids and adults have different feelings about what privacy is. So about what pictures, information are okay to be posted about them, about you or them. Ask them. So if you're not sure, hey, can I post this picture of you? Are you okay with it? That's being kind. That's being respectful. You're actually making sure that this is okay for me to share. So that's ask if you're in doubt about whether it's something, like information. You did something fun, or you did this, and maybe this person doesn't want that information shared. It's good to share it. Ask them before you do that. And then also, a lot of families have different policies when it comes to phones and social media and games that they play, and we want to make sure that we don't exclude or make fun of those families who have chosen differently. I know a lot of times, and I've heard it from my 10-year-old, but my friend has his phone, blah, blah, blah. And he's, makes fun of me or whatever, because I don't have a phone, or whatever. We want to make sure that our kids aren't doing that to others. And it's like, oh, I got a phone, blah, 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 or are embarrassed because they don't have a phone or a device or whatever. So let's kind of make sure that they're not making fun or excluding those people who've made those choices, and respect those. Now that finally, pardon me, it's important for kids to understand that it's exciting to be on social media, and everything happens out there is not a measure of their value. Kids and even adults get very caught up and become very anxious about how they're perceived by their peers. This can be made worse by social media and how they appear and how they're performing on, say a game or whatever. Say they have a bad night in the game, they're going to be embarrassed, or they posted some link or some picture and they're not getting the likes that they think they should get, and they start feeling bad. But we need to remind them that these things do not equal, the number of likes, retweets, friends, followers, subscribers, whatever, are not equal to their value. They are far more they are far more than what those digits mean. Uh, as parents, we need to remind our kids, and sometimes even remind ourselves, um, of them, remind them of that. We need to show them that, through all the other ways that we show them through love. We are more important. Your social status means nothing. It's your friends and family that mean more than anything. So how you're doing online means nothing. That's the big thing there, is you need to be kind to yourself. Like, so what? Post and get a lot of likes. Who cares? I don't have a lot of followers. My friends has thousands of followers. Who cares? It's not who I am. I am greater than that. As parents, we need to be supportive and remind them that we are always there for them if anything were to happen. We need to also be prepared by asking ourselves 2 questions, like, what would we do if our child was bullied online? Okay, so let me think about it. What would I do? What steps would I take? And also, in return, it's like, what would I do if my child was being the person unkind to someone else? These are things that we need to think about. How would I respond, if my kid was being bullied online? Or how would I respond if my kid was the bully? And then when we see the good things happening online, we need to share those stories and share them with our kids and saying, hey, this is what it looks like. This is what it should be when we're online, and share those stories with the kids so they learn and understand what the kindness is and the power of kindness is online. All right, so we're going to start wrapping up this with a few good habits and uses that you could use to kind of help you encourage ourselves and our kids while they're online. This is the positives, the good things about the internet. So the very first thing, and this is something that we deal with day in, day out, is, okay, is this real or is this not real? How can I trust this? How do I validate that this photo isn't just copied somewhere, or this news article is just made up, or whatever? How can I validate that this isn't just some hoax? And we're surrounded by this and bombarded by this daily, being online, with all the things that get posted and said. It's really hard to filter out what's true, what's not, and whether these things are actual, photos or not. So in this case, saw the original photo of the guy, and some guy just kind of copied and said, hey, look what I took a picture of. So it's real easy to do this stuff, and it's really hard to validate some of this stuff while we're online. Now, some things that I encourage kids to do and think about when we're online is to, hey, let's ask some simple questions when we're looking, like, okay, when I'm reading something, why was it made? Who made it? What's missing here? Is there something that kind of attracting me to it? How would other people look at this? And that's kind of harder to see, but you'll read something and you think about, okay, how would someone else respond to it? And then how do I validate that this is true or not? And who might benefit from this message? Is this actually, kind of targeting someone? Is it excluding someone? Is it gaslighting someone? Things like that. And the same thing, who might be harmed by it? These are some of the questions that I say, hey, when you read something, think about these things as you're reading through it to, help you validate whether this is a decent, this is true or not. Another good habit, and this is something that I've done, and it's actually kind of cool, and it's interesting sometimes and surprising for some. It's like, who am I online? Look yourself up. Have you ever Googled yourself? You can even have your kids, especially ones who have been online for a while, Google themselves and see what comes up. it's really interesting on some of the things that you may see as you're searching, for yourself. Maybe you've put something that you may find something that someone posted about you. You may find something about someone not even related to you, but shares the same name. It's really interesting stuff that you can find by just doing a quick Google search of who I am and and what you do. So this is a video where we're going to where we can set up Google alerts to search for specific things. In this case, we're setting up an alert, and this is something you could do in Google if you have a Google account, is saying, hey, alert me of anything related. In this case, we're saying Trend Micro that shows up as it happens. I can pick the sources. I can pick where I want to come from, if it's a particular language or whatever. So I can put my name up there, or I can put anything that I want to know if anything occurred, or any searches or alerts, anything showed up in Google or anything on the internet. I can be sent an email saying, hey, this has showed up, and they'll send you links about it. Things that changed within the last day or two or last week, and just kind of gives, this is a neat way to kind of monitor your cyber twin, if you want to call it that, or your personal, even your name or whatever you want to monitor out there. You can set up these alerts to send you emails on new things that pop up, so you don't have to constantly search. This is kind of a neat little thing, and it'd be interesting. It's interesting to see some of the things that do pop up. Now this is interesting here. This is actually knowing what is public about you can be useful in the future. This is a kind of a good example of, what my kids have posted is going to be very helpful or harmful to them down the road. So in this case, this is Kaplan Institute annual study. Each year they survey college admission officers about a lot of things. And one of the questions they ask is, would you ever look up an applicant's online profile? And this year, 66% of those college admission officers said yes. This is higher than all the previous years since 2014. In 2014, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was up there. And it's been dwindling since then, and then suddenly this year it's kicked back up there. So over 66% said that they would definitely look up a applicant to see who they are, what they do. Of those, 57% said they did not find something. Did find something that could hurt the students' admission chances. So 57% of those admission officers did find something that could potentially hurt the students' admission chances. That is kind of spooky, and it's kind of also eye-opening. It's like, oh, I better, especially if you got a kid looking to get into college and whatever, like you want to make sure there's nothing in there that can kind of really hurt them down the road when it comes to that stuff. And then by that same token, 38% said that they found things online that made their application stronger. So while there's also, we need to be aware of the negative stuff, we also want to encourage the positive stuff. We want to encourage the, if they're writers or whatever, to make sure that they're sharing that information out there and getting it out there, because admission officers will see that stuff and say, hey, this looks like a good candidate, or maybe that person's big in scouting or some other, did a lot of charitable work. This is going to be a good candidate for the school. We definitely want to talk up as much as they can about the good things they did. Thanks. All right. So we want to encourage our kids to use the internet in good and useful ways. We want them to learn a new skill. And even us as well, is learn a new skill, learn something new. Every day I try to learn something new. And if I don't know, I'll Google it. I use YouTube, and you learn a lot of stuff. If they're artists, athletes, whatever, or writers, we want to, find ways or use the apps out there that can help showcase that that talent, especially if they're musicians, athletes, or whatever, share that what they're doing out there and saying, hey, look at what he can do, look what he's done, and encourage those positives and get that out there. Also, there are a number of contests out there too. There's a lot of scholarships out there that they can do, different things to earn money for college and whatever based on what they've done online. So there's things out there that they can do. We do what's your shoot? I can't remember the name of it now. I just drew a blank on that. Trend Micro had a contest where we basically gave them a prompt and they had to do a video, and we had a chance to earn money for their school or individuals about like what's the internet or some other question. What's your story contest is what it was. And it was a great contest in which they can show their skills on whatever, whatever the prompt has to be, and, making a video and talking about or presenting it. It was really cool. So it's really great to encourage them to use the internet and help build their profile and I hate to use the word market themselves, but basically market themselves to, show their accomplishments and their what they presented in their work. Okay, so wrapping up, we believe helping kids to be great citizens takes work on our part as parents, a lot of work. But it's also a view that is more holistic than just keeping them safe. Whoops, sorry. Very first thing is like we talked to, being online, we want to make sure that we got a good, safe environment, that we're taking care of ourselves, the kids are healthy. We have some good ground rules in place for them to follow, and we are being good examples of using the internet as positively as possible and using these tools out there. So we want to be the good example. We also want to encourage them to be safe, protecting their privacy, their information, as well as themselves, and knowing that if they do run into problems, that they can come to us and that we can help them through those issues and help them grow and learn. They are going to make mistakes. They are going to make these missteps. That's the whole learning process. And we need to be there for them when they make those mistakes and help them through it and help them learn and evolve. We want them to be savvy. We want them to learn the good habits, good uses of the internet, use the internet to their benefit. How can it help me? How can it help my community? How can it help whatever group I'm part of? Use it as a positive tool to spread the good word or whatever your goal is. And then lastly is being kind to others, being respectful to others, as well as ourselves, being kind to ourselves and others. That is very important. We need to make sure that we're not letting the bullies dictate who we are and tell us how bad we are and we don't care. We need to encourage others and spread positive message to others. So being kind and respecting others as well. Now, this is actually a really, really cool tool. I should say site. This is a kind of internet safety things for our kids. These are videos that we created. It's Kids Cyber Academy. These are short videos. It includes a Kahoots quizzes. It has some discussion questions for kids, little videos and stuff that they can play through, and it helps them understand these different aspects. And every module, like it says here, has a video that they can watch, has a little quiz, including an activity sheet, and as well as a conversation guide for us. So it has some things that we can help talk to them with it. So if they have questions, you can help them answer it. We're constantly building these out. This is growing more and more every year, every month. This is actually getting bigger. Every module kind of focuses on a specific thing. So like the camera safety is a really cool one that was newly released, as well as the time online. And it's just a nice little walkthrough. This is great for parents who want to sit down with their kids, or even if you want to use this in the classroom itself and you're a teacher and say, hey, let's sit down and do one of these things and have them go through it. It's a great way to help them learn about some of the things of being safe and being a good digital citizen online. If you go to trendmicro.com/internet safety, you'll see a link to this. This is a really great tool for helping kids understand and learn internet safety. Some other resources available too. This is for parents and teachers as well. If you, again, trendmicro/internet safety, there are a number of resources that you can download, links to get to different things, blogs, whatever. Anything, questions that you have, you can go in here and watch some of the recordings from previous webinars that we've done about certain things. Great tool for parents as well as teachers just to get some help. Some help to help teach your kids and learn about the things that are online and the different things that can help you on this journey. So let's keep it going. Some things that I want to wrap things up here is remember to stay active, communicate, talk to your parents out there, communicate with each other, talk to your kids, stay up to date. Now this is a little harder because God, they release apps constantly, and even I struggle keeping up to date what's new, what's not. But if you tab your little circle of friends and parents and stuff, you can share what the kids are using and what they're hearing, as well as having that conversation with your kids. Like, okay, what new game are you playing with it? And trying to maybe learn some things about it and have them talk about the game or app or whatever they're using. Kids get really animated about things they're interested about, and it's amazing how much they'll actually share with you once you get them going, especially on something that they love or like. They'll talk your ear off, and you can learn a lot from it just by having that conversation with them about, whatever it is. And then lastly is do one new thing, learn one new thing, take some time out during the day, Google a new app, Google whatever, or research some new program or game or whatever. Just learn something new. This is going to help you when you're having these conversations with the kids. And, if they bring up, say, some new program or new application or app, whatever that's on the phone and the kids are using, do a quick search and learn about it so you can at least have that conversation with them and help them use it appropriately if they choose to use it. All right. Lastly, for those of you, like we said, there is a survey. Please give us your feedback. This is helpful to us. This helps us. This feedback helps us develop this program, make changes to it as things evolve and the wants and needs from the people out there. This helps us understand what they're looking for. It also helps to make sure that our content is still relevant and we don't need to, we need to make changes or updates. This is very important. So please fill out this survey. It is very important to help us keep this thing current and make sure that we're giving you the best information and giving you what you're looking for during these sessions. And lastly, if you did the sign in, like I said, register with that link. It is very important. If you include your email in the sign-in sheet, you will be in a chance to win a free 1-year subscription to our Trend Microsecurity. This is our security software. This will actually install on 5 devices. So if you win that, you can actually install that on your iPhone, your Windows box, your Apple laptop, or whatever, or your Samsung device. So it'll cover 5 devices with that license. So please if you did put your email in, thank you very much. And then we will enter you for a chance to win a copy of this software. So, all right, so let's see. We can open this up to questions. If there are any questions, go ahead and go and put them in the chat and we will try to answer them. Or you guys can go ahead and sign off. The sign-in sheet is, if you look in the chat, there should be a link to the sign-in sheet. If not, I believe someone will post the answer for you for the sign-in sheet. So please sign in if you haven't done already. I do see one question in chat says, how much time per day can my son spend in front of a screen playing or browsing? At least one reference. I don't have a reference that I can give you. I am going to basically tell you a lot of the research says you need to typically no more than an hour, but a lot depends upon the maturity level of your child and where you feel they should be. My 10-year-old, like I said, I have 30 minutes per day. And that is a choice because I would much rather him, instead of sitting in front of a screen, reading or playing or doing something outside of that window. So that's a choice that I've made, is to limit his screen time. So again, if you want some really, really good information, I'd say talk to your pediatrician, see what they recommend as far as screen time. I've read things say 30 minutes. I've read things an hour. There are so many different opinions. I would basically, I'd talk to your pediatrician and make your best choice there. A copy of the presentation. If you guys do want a copy of this, please send an email. Have your PTO person or whatever send an email to us and we will send it to you. It's per request. Okay. So what online games do you allow your son to play? Do you allow him to play Fortnite? I currently do not allow him to play Fortnite at this time. However, he has not really asked about that one yet. His big thing online right now is watching YouTube videos with Ninjago and Power Rangers. So that's his big thing. As far as gaming, we do let him do like Two Dots and some of those games that are kind of where you puzzle games and stuff, but we have not let him play Fortnite, but he hasn't, nor has he asked. And if he chooses to ask, that would be something that I would have to, I would investigate and see if he's ready for that. So that's right now where we stand for him as far as gaming. Are there any other questions? Anything else you guys would like to discuss? All right, I see a question that says, I seem to be able to monitor the computer use on our wireless extenders. Is there a similar way to monitor the Xfinity router? I believe there is. When it comes to that, I would recommend, when it comes to Xfinity routers, is to just take a look at the Contact Xfinity and see if you can get a user manual, because every router is different, and depending upon what model they have, whether it has monitoring or not. So I would contact Xfinity and say, hey, do you have a monitor and what kind of monitoring does it have? That's the best way to do that for when it comes to monitoring. How can you protect children from explicit commercials that pop up on YouTube? Back in the presentation where you saw the those settings to YouTube. Shoot, I can't remember the name of it now. I just drew a blank. We'll pop back here real quick to right there. So the supervised level, the supervised account is going to be the best way to filter that stuff out. Now it's not 100%. But it does a fairly good job on filtering out a lot of that explicit content. from commercials. So if you're just, I would say set up a supervised account, select the appropriate level for content for your kids, and then that should take care of a lot of your concern around the content on the commercials. Unfortunately, it's not 100%, but it does a fairly good job. Is there a way to protect if a child Googles inappropriate topics? There is a filter in Google called safe settings, safe site. It's off to the right. Basically, you set it to explicit. It basically, what is it? Safe site. Should I just do a blank of what it's called? The safe site filter, if you just go under settings, there's a setting where you can actually have it block explicit content. So even if they attempt to search for it, if you have that setting enabled, it will block that content. Again, that setting's not 100%, so it will be, that setting's not 100%, and they can easily disable it. So you could also use one of the tools that are out there as well as far as content. So like say that Trend Micro Internet Security, there is actually a web filter. There's a web filter in there that can actually filter out content. If you use that other tool that I was talking about for Trend, the family, there we go. The family, Trend Micro Family, this also has the ability to filter out some of that content as well. I'm not 100% familiar with the Link Google controls for under 13-year-olds. I haven't really played with them. I do recommend taking a look at those. Just take a look at the settings and read up on it. Unfortunately, I don't use that tool very often. I actually use this tool or other management stuff. As far as WW versus HTTP, WW, it's HTTPS or HTTP. If it's HTTP, it's not secure. If it's HTTPS, it is secure. The WW is just World Wide Web. Most URLs is going to have it. Do you recommend using DuckDuckGo instead of Google for privacy? If you're really concerned about privacy and you don't want to know do not want the ISP, your internet service provider, knowing what you're searching for, DuckDuckGo is a great way of doing it. But Google is, as long as you're not searching for things that are inappropriate, it's really not a big concern when it comes to that. All right. Do you have any other questions or anything else anybody would like to discuss? All right. Well, if you have anything that comes up, please go ahead and email us at internetsafety@trendmicro.com. I do appreciate you guys taking the time out tonight to listen to me talk, and I hope you did get something out of this and learn something from this and was able to, take something and help you with whatever you're dealing with at this time. So I do appreciate your time and let you guys get back to your evening. Thank you very much.